Hello, it's Ushalex here again, and welcome to this course where
We'll be talking about contrast. So, what is contrast? Contrast is the practice of making design elements look different from each other or stand out. So, by this definition, we understand that the main purpose or the purposes of contrast is to draw attention, to generate interest, and to highlight importance. So, by mastering contrast, a designer can intentionally make certain elements in a design to draw attention than other elements, or draw the eyes of the target audience to the important or the most important elements on the design. So now we know what contrast is all about and its purpose. Now let's look at how we can create this contrast. We can create contrast in our designs by using colors, shapes, alignment, typeface, and size. So these are the 5 ways we can create contrast in our designs. So let's look at the first one. This is how we use color to draw attention to a specific element or attach relevance to a particular element. Here we have 4 circles, and all of these circles have the same color except one, which is red. Instantly your eyes are drawn to that particular one that is red. Why? Because that one is different from the rest. Psychologically, humans notice difference a lot. So from this set of colors, we are easily able to notice a circle that has a different color, which is the color red. So here we have successfully used the introduction of a different color to draw attention to this particular circle and make it stand out. Now let's look at shape. Just the same way we are able to draw attention by introducing a different color in the previous slide, here we are drawing attention by introducing a different shape. And this is a design that has mostly circular elements. Suddenly, along the line, we introduced a square element. So what happens here is your eyes instantly notice the different shape. So here you have successfully gotten your viewers' attention as a designer by altering the pattern of shapes, which is introducing a square shape where circular shapes are being used. Now we can also create contrast by size. Making an element bigger than the rest of the elements instantly draws attention to it. It makes it impossible to ignore. So while the viewer goes through the designs, the viewer can't miss the information that is contained in that element. So that particular information in that part of the element that is bigger, or in that part of the design that is bigger, instantly gets adequate attention and stands out from the rest of the design elements. Then we also have contrast by alignment, where we have similar elements, but then one element breaks out of order or out of arrangement. This break out of order instantly gets attention because of the fact that the human eyes easily notice differences. So this instantly makes that particular element that is out of alignment or out of order to get more attention because it looks different. And that simply makes it stand out from the rest. Now let's look at alignment by typeface. Typeface talks about text being used in designs. When using text in design, we can alter them in a way that makes it draw attention. Here we have typed out "How are you today?" and the first line looks exactly like the second line and also exactly like the third line, but the fourth line looks a bit different and slanted. That little difference and being slanted instantly makes that particular "How are you today?" stand out from the rest and makes it instantly draw attention when a viewer is looking at it. Now let's look at another slide. Still on the typeface. Here, the first "How are you today?" looks exactly like the next one, and which also looks exactly like the third one. The fourth "How are you today?" is bolder than the rest, and that instantly draws attention. Let's look at another typeface where we'll see another example. Here we have bold text all through. Then suddenly that fourth line is not bold. This instantly makes it look different and stands out. So basically, from all the explanations we have seen about contrast, it's all about making certain elements in designs stand out or draw attention by being different from the rest in a certain way. Now let's go practical and look at some example of how we use contrast to make certain elements in design stand out. This design is an image background with a text on it. And if you look closely, you might not even notice there is a text on the image because the color used for the text is not standing out from the color of the background. Now the background is almost white. It's the image of a tree that has snow on it. Now a text is placed on the design, a white text. Now placing a white text on an almost white background is bad because the two colors are almost the same thing. The text cannot stand out. So we need a way to make the text stand out from the background. And one of the ways we can do that is by changing the color of the text, right? So let's try and change the color of the text to yellow. How does it look like? Not as bad as the white, but this is not still good enough. Yellow over white is still poor contrast because looking at this, like this is stressful to look at. The word bad contrast is not standing out from the background. To solve this problem, there are actually two things we can do. So here in this example, we have changed the color of the background. We have made the background a little bit darker so that the white text can stand out. And here in this example, we changed the color of the text to black. And the text is now easier to read because black and white are opposite colors. So you see how we're able to increase readability by introducing black on the background so that the white text can stand out, or by changing the color of the white text to black. We were able to do this by using our knowledge of complementary colors that we talked about in the previous module. So using one over the other creates good contrast. Now let's look at another example to see how we make designs stand out, how we create contrast in designs. In fact, this is one of the methods I have been using through most of the videos in this graphic design course. If you've been observant, in most of the slides we use in our videos, I actually use this a lot to make the examples or the design I bring into the videos. Now here is a flyer design that I just brought into this design. Now to make this flyer design pop out or stand out from the white background, I have introduced shadow. If you look at this design, you can see at the edge, you can see a form of shadow at the edge. This makes this image to stand out from the white background. For you to really understand why I have to put this shadow, let me remove it so that you see how the design will look like without the shadow. So here it is. Without the shadow, you see how the church flyer gets mixed up with the background of the slide, and which doesn't make sense at all. This is another example of contrast in play. From the examples we have given where we talk about contrast by color, size, shapes, and alignment, you can see how we use contrast to draw attention in design. In the subsequent example where we used the white background and the text on it, you see how we used contrast to increase readability in that design. In other words, good contrast makes text that you use in your design readable. Then going further to the last example, you can see how we use shadow to make a design stand out from the background. So all these are pointing to the fact that we use contrast to draw attention. We use contrast to make elements stand out. We use contrast to enhance readability in our designs. And that brings us to the end of this video. As an activity for this course, you have to share at least 3 designs with bad contrast and 3 designs with good contrast. So see you in the next video where we'll be talking about alignment.